Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or whatever it may be, wherever you may be. This is Josh here, and going to do a video asking a question that, I don't know, it's one I've asked myself for years now, but sometimes it comes too late. After somebody makes a video, I watched a video this morning from Ron. It was called Full Disclosure. It was like basically in the sense of what do we want from the corporations and the government. And he said full disclosure. And that's the term that I've been working on for so long, to figure out what exactly is full disclosure. And I agree that the people need to know what's going on with our government to an extent. But there's also a line that I draw where I realize that there are people out there that would take advantage of the country. Not terrorists. I'm not talking about all the bullshit we make up. I'm talking about the fact that our government needs to hide certain things from the general population in order to prevent others from taking advantage. And one could argue that and say, no, government should reveal everything. But that's never been the case, and that will never be the case. It's like when you put somebody in charge of your property, you don't question every method that they have of protecting it. You just say, protect my property. And you trust them based on the history that they have. Now, of course, the American government has a bad history of keeping secrets and a bad history of helping the people, but we're still never going to get full disclosure of everything. Now, as far as corporations go, that's never going to happen. And corporations are a symbolized version of, it's sad that a person can be a corporation. I had the choice to be a corporation when I started my company, and I opted not to. People would say, you should. I said, I don't want to buy into that part. I want to be honest, be myself, be a sole proprietor. And tax-wise, I could have done a lot better if I had been a corporation. But I didn't feel it was right, But beyond all that, the corporations are never going to reveal full disclosure of anything. Now, beyond that, let's say they did. Let's just take a hypothetical situation that the governments and all the banking industries and all the cartels, everybody came clean. Said this is the way the world really is. And folks tend to think that people would be overwhelmed, that the society might go into chaos, or that people would be angry and demanding answers from their government, from the companies. I don't really think that would happen, and let me tell you why. It's because even if they came out with full disclosure about everything that we wonder about, I'm convinced that over half of society, probably more like 2/3 of society, would close their ears to it and wouldn't even want to listen. That if a document was printed saying this is the truth of everything, the history of our country, the history of our government, the history of every company, most people would just throw it aside and have no desire to know, because knowledge is power, but knowledge is also brings fear, and some people don't want to know the details of the companies that they're involved with. Let's say that a company that you have money tied up with, you find out that they are killing tribes in some country in order to make room for their next corporate interest, their mining operation, whatever it may be. A person with good values might instantly drop that stock and say, I'm having nothing to do with this company. But more people it's easier for them to pull the shutters halfway over their eyes, to say, well, the world's rough, and I can't expect everything to be humanitarian. But it's an individual line that will cross. What line will you cross? Some people will fight. Some people won't even swing at someone if they're getting fought. And that's the metaphoric version for fighting against the injustices and the lies that are out there. That I don't believe that people would be able to handle the truth. It just goes back to that old saying. And it's not about whether you can process it. It's about whether you're willing to process it. But let me put it this way. The secrets are so deep and so wide, and the ocean of lies is so vast now, that even if every secret was put out, you'd spend a lifetime and still not get halfway through it. You'd still never be able to tie it all together. Too confusing. Way too confusing. But we want to know. we're humans, and we're doing the best we can to figure this shit out. For me personally, I don't care really what the corporations are doing. No, I do. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to know the details of every bit of disclosure, because it would just twist things up even worse than they are sometimes. Then you're trusting somebody else to tell you a story. Trusting if somebody else is telling you the truth, that they're lying. And even with disclosure, you have to assume that the person's telling you the true disclosure. So, it's kind of a losing battle, in the sense that it might just be one other lie to replace another. And you could spend a lifetime trying to figure out what the corporations are doing, but you only have so long to live. To make the most of it. I hope one day that we can figure out what's going on to an extent that we can all get along and make this world a better place for all of us. I think all companies should be involved in bettering humanity instead of filling their pockets, but that's not the nature of man. Or maybe it is. I don't know, but it's not showing through very well. Namaste.